This is Austin Liddy Limits, where authors talk to authors about books and the craft of storytelling. Sponsored by Blue Ink Review, because typing "the end" is just the beginning. Find out more at blueinkreview.com. St. Sebastian's Abyss is a darkly comic novel about best friends who both built their careers as art critics, writing about a single Renaissance painting. It led to a decades-long falling out between the two and eventual reunion. A reading by Mark Haber.
Hi, I'm Mark Haber, and I'm going to be reading the opening pages of my second novel, St. Sebastian's Abyss. After reading the email from Schmidt, I knew I'd have to fly to see Schmidt on his deathbed in Berlin. After rereading and reflecting on the more emphatic passages of his relatively short email, I was convinced I'd have to visit Schmidt one last time as he lay, in his words, dying in Berlin. Although we hadn't spoken in years, the email, sparse and cruel, hadn't surprised me. It felt suspended, as if it had been written years before and was merely waiting for me to open and read it. The tone of Schmidt's email hadn't surprised me either. Schmidt had been my best friend and confidant, my spiritual companion in art history, and art criticism. Our interests drawn to the Northern Renaissance, specifically Dutch mannerism, and more specifically than that, the painting St. Sebastian's Abyss by Count Hugo Beckenbauer. St. Sebastian's Abyss, the focus of both our early studies and later our entire careers. Schmidt's guidance and affection and later our deep friendship were founded on our mutual love and adoration for St. Sebastian's Abyss. At the time, a little-known work by a little-known artist, hence all the more moving. We'd taken countless trips to Barcelona, where St. Sebastian's Abyss was and still is on display, along with Beckenbauer's two lesser works. In Barcelona, we beheld St. Sebastian's Abyss in person, the first time to make sure the obsession we shared was authentic, and every visit thereafter because of the obsession itself. I read and reread Schmidt's relatively short email, going as far as printing it so I could underline specific passages during the long flight to Berlin. I printed 3 copies, in fact, 2 for the flight and 1 to tuck in my luggage in the event of some mild misfortune, spilled coffee, a tear, pages forgotten in the restroom, and so on. I remembered I could always print a copy at the hotel in Berlin and for a moment felt silly. But this feeling passed because it would be absurd not to print something as vital as the deathbed missive for my spiritual and artistic confidant when I had the means at my disposal. Thus, I printed 3 copies to reread and underline, fold and unfold, disregard entirely if I felt like it. The choice was mine. The point being to have a choice, for I saw the next 12 hours as torment, soaring over the Atlantic, condemned to the solitude of my own thoughts. No desire to read anything but the email, wholly occupied with studying, analyzing, and construing all 9 pages of Schmidt's relatively terse email. An email that by the time we descended over Berlin would no doubt be dog-eared and worn, pondered over and vigorously scrutinized because I hadn't spoken to my best friend, meaning Schmidt, in over 10 years, 13 to be exact. And Schmidt, being Schmidt, the less he said, the more he revealed about art criticism, our once brilliant devotion to each other, and our subsequent falling out, and, naturally, the most sublime painting in human history, St. Sebastian's Abyss. Now stop there.
This has been a presentation of Austin Liddy Limits, made possible with help from our good friends at Blue Ink Review, where typing "the end" is just the beginning. Find out more at blueinkreview.com.